Hey, my name's Owen. I'm one of the worker owners here at Urbane Cyclist, and today we're talking about why your next bike should fold. If it's not already clear, we carry Tern folding bikes, and they're one of our best sellers. And we're going to talk a little about kind of the general reasons why you might choose a folding bike over a traditional, just normal bike. So the number one reason to go with a folding bike is often they're easy to store, which also in turn means they're more secure to store. They're easy to bring inside. They're easy to, put inside your apartment, in your home, put it into a closet if you're storing it off season and you're not riding all the time. Another great aspect of folding bikes is they get around a lot of the rules on transit. So if you're taking TTC or GO Train, you can take them anytime with a folding bike while it's folded, where you are limited to only off-peak hours typically with a traditional bike. And another great aspect of these is if you drive and you might not want to just be riding as a commute, you might want to take it to a nice area and just travel there on your car. You can put it inside the trunk very easily without a car rack and just pop it out, unfold it in a matter of seconds, and then just ride and enjoy your day. And I think one thing that people also forget is folding bikes are hugely adjustable. So people of varying heights can share one bike. So they're really ideal for families. If you're not always using it, you just want to have a bike around to share, or you might want to have a bike that you can easily loan out to friends. They're perfect as an addition to your lineup. Another thing would be they're really fun. They're small-wheeled bikes, mean they're very maneuverable, they're very snappy handling, but they're still incredibly stable and smooth riding. And I think that's one of the things people make assumptions about is the ride quality will somehow not be good because of the small wheel. So to speak to the small wheels, folding bikes will come in a range of wheel sizes. So pictured here, we have the Link, which is a 20-inch wheel, and behind me we have a Node with a 24-inch wheel. You will see some smaller than 20-inch wheels, but I find going smaller than 20, you sometimes will feel compromises in the ride quality because the wheels are so small. They're a little more likely to go into ruts and potholes deeper, which in turn makes for a rougher ride. One of the ways they kind of balance out the ride quality with these smaller wheels in the 20 and 24-inch wheel sizes is they put a pretty sizable tire on here. So these are Schwalbe tires, they're puncture resistant, and they're pretty sizable. So they actually are very good at vibration dampening and smoothing out the ride. So to get into the specifics a little more, if we're comparing between the Link and the Node, as I mentioned, we have a 20-inch wheel on the Link, and then we have a 24 on the Node. So if you're comparing between the two, there's a marginal slightly taller size range you can fit with the slightly bigger wheel because the frame's also going to be a little taller as well. Recommended rider height would be 190 centimeters on the Link, where the Node can fit up to 195 centimeters. So if we get into the specifics a little more, the folding aspects of both these models, they're the same. So the Link D8, the Link D7i, both share the same folding styles as the Node D8 and the D7i. When we speak to those specific models, the D8 means it has a derailleur, it's an 8-speed. When we say D7i, it's 7-speed and internal. So one fun little feature they've added to the D7i is actually this little chain cover. And a lot of people don't understand what that is, but it's a great asset to have because when you're folding the bike, you're kind of handling it differently. You might rub up on the chain and you may get a little bit of that chain oil or potential dirt on you. And this is just a way to keep you clean as well as the bike contained and not getting stuff dirty around you. Another thing that the D7i models, both in the Link and the Node have, is a dynamo or a generator hub. So the front hub actually generates power for the integrated light here. So you do get a lot of value in that little upgrade. You get the simplicity of an internal gear hub, and then you also get free electricity. So both the Link and Node models in all variants do come with V-brakes. V-brakes, I know a lot of people think, oh, V-brakes, why don't they have discs? Discs do actually weigh a little more. V-brakes, especially if you travel with a bike, they're readily available. All the brake pads are the same. And frankly, you get a lot of stopping power with the V-brake. So honestly, I wouldn't consider that a downgrade. I actually really like the fact that these come with V-brakes just because they're a little easier to maintain, especially if you're someone who's keen to DIY. So when we're speaking to the derailleur versus internal and people think, what is better? To speak frankly, any of these models, whether it be the Link or the Node, will be marginally lighter in the D8 variant just due to having less features. The dynamo hub adds a little bit of weight, as well as the internal hub adding a little bit of weight. But the benefits, I would say, do also kind of outweigh that potential negative of adding weight, because an internal hub, especially if we're looking at this in the lens of this is like a family bike, something to share, someone who may not be as confident on a bicycle will probably love the internal hub. You don't have to be pedaling to shift the gears. You don't have to worry about the chain derailing because it's only on a single set of sprockets. And the reality is, for general purpose use, you get a nice kind of simple range of gears, enough to get around, but not too many to feel confused by. So super user friendly, and also just like much lower maintenance overall, much less to get dirty. And you also have the added benefit of having no derailleur hanging down to potentially get bumped or bent while folding. So all the Link D8s, D7is, Node D8s, Node D7is all come with a rear rack. They all come with full fenders. So they're pretty much ready to go out of the shop. A fun little benefit they do have is they have a little head badge here that's actually a disguised mount. So you can add a luggage truss to that, and then you can add various Tern accessories that use the click fix system, meaning you can kind of just add a little bag, add a basket that's easy to remove and quick. So when we're getting into the specifics of the Link versus the Node, one of the major differences, while these both have andro stems, they're highly adjustable. The Link comes with a simple flat handlebar, where the Node comes with a slight back sweep, which is very ergonomic, it's very comfortable, and it's a nice little upgrade for the Node models. All these models also come with a nice ergonomic grip, so regardless of handlebar style, they're still both extremely comfortable. So as far as other differences between the Link and Node models, if we're looking at the Link D8 versus the Node D8, there is a little bit of weight discrepancy, and the smaller wheel is not surprisingly a little lighter. We're looking at roughly 2.4 pounds lighter on the side of the Link D8 versus the Node D8. If we're looking at the internal gear hub models, the Link D7i versus the Node D7i, it's actually only 0.4 of a pound difference. So pretty minute difference overall in the weight. I will say, if you're looking for the lightest possible option in these models, the Link D8 is going to be the lightest by a few pounds, which is worth considering. And it's also the best value in that lens. My personal favorite of all these bikes, partially because I'm a little on the taller side, I really like the Node D7i. I'm a really big fan of dynamo lighting. It's great to have the bike kind of self-contained, ready to go, no need to charge, no need to change front light batteries. That being said, the rear light does take batteries. And because I'm over 6 feet tall, I find the slightly larger wheel is a little more proportionate for my height. I do always encourage trying both to consider your options, because there are some benefits either way, being a little smaller, being a little more stable feeling, but it really comes down to personal preference. All right, so we're going to take a closer look at how to fold the Link and the Node models respectively. So first things first, when you're ready to start your folds, get the kickstand out of the way. Next thing I like to do is just address the pedals. So there's a little hole right here with an indicating arrow. Pull it, go up or down, doesn't matter, it clicks into place. Same thing again. At this point, we're going to drop the seat all the way to the bottom. So you drop the seat all the way down, it will actually help support the bike when it's folded. So this is when I'm going to pause and remind everyone, the number one important thing to do is do not turn the wheel. The wheels are going to remain parallel throughout the fold. So it's going to do like a zigzag or a Z. There is a safety release right here. It must be engaged in order to fold. It cannot be open without engaging that. There's a little metal plate here and a magnet on the back. We're going to swing it around just like so. And I'm going to point you at one thing right now. And this is where we can see how the crank is actually in the wrong position. It slightly interferes. So to rectify that, you're just gonna wanna back it up a little bit. You will notice the front wheel hitting that if that's the case. It's not a big deal if you have to unfold, but it's best to get the right crank arm vertical if possible. We're gonna start here to show the full fold, get these in line. So we're gonna get this in line with the rest of the stem, dropping that down, and then again, safety release, drop it down all the way. And then there's a little tab here, you pull in to lock it in. If at this point you wanna pick it up, I usually recommend grabbing by the down tube and hold somewhere on the actual rack. Very easy to manipulate. You can lean it against your body on the seat to kind of help move it if you're lifting it in and out of a car without having to pull it away from your body. It's definitely very manageable this way. And in reverse. So we're gonna first start by releasing the strap, bringing this up. We're gonna rough in where we think the stem should be, just dropping that, or ballpark it. We can adjust that later if need be. We're gonna lightly turn the bars, which will help release the magnet. A little lift and just straighten everything out. Close the frame lock. At this point, I'm gonna do in a little different order, pedals first. And why not free up my hands, put the kickstand out, and then I can adjust the final seat height. Ready to go. So following up with, just as we saw with the Link D8, this is the Node D8. All is the same folding mechanism, same folding order. The only difference is we're gonna see the back swept shape of the handlebars and the 24-inch as opposed to the 20-inch wheels. So to start it off, kickstand up. Same goes, we're gonna drop these pedals out of the way. We're now gonna drop the seat all the way to the bottom. So at this point, we're doing the frame fold, the most important part. Safety release can't be opened without engaging. So we're gonna engage that, open that. Wheels do not turn, so nice and parallel. Dropped, and now the seat is gonna be supporting it, the seat post at the bottom. So you can see it's freestanding at this point. Safety release once again, Andros stem. We're gonna go in line, all the controls, fold that down with your palm, and then the safety release up, and a little pivot with your thumb is gonna pop that open, and this is gonna drop down just like so. So I think a lot of people underestimate the capability and potential that folding bikes really do have. It's good to think about in the broader sense of purchasing a bike is the serviceability long-term. So that's one of the reasons we love working with Tern. They're a super dependable company to work with. And if you ever need any proprietary replacement parts, they have a wealth of knowledgeable staff that can help you out. But of course, remember, you should go through your Tern dealer, like Urbane Cyclist or another shop maybe that's more local to you. If you need any service parts, they should be able to help you out. Bottom line, if you're gonna be shopping for a folding bike, I always recommend a test drive to both see and feel the differences in components, wheel sizes, proportions, and also talk with someone who is familiar with the bikes to make sure you get the one that's right for your needs. Thanks for watching. See you next time.